My next guest is Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican from Tennessee. Senator Blackburn is the first female senator elected from Tennessee. I spoke with her a short time ago. Take a listen.
Senator, thank you so much for joining us today. Just to jump right into it, you were elected to Congress as you were turning 50. What have been some of the biggest lessons you've had or learned in Congress since then and have learned as a woman over 50?
One of the biggest lessons is that you have to make certain that you can do your homework, because I have found that women have to know more. They have to be more prepared. They have to be willing to speak up and create that place for themselves at the table. Because here in Congress, that table is not always going to be there for them. So we have made certain that we do our homework, that we know our issues, that we know our facts, our figures, that they're researched, and that we are always pushing to make certain we have that place at the table.
A lot of women of all ages feel pressure to accomplish various milestones at certain points in their life, whether it's having children, reaching a certain point in their career, maybe checking off some things on a bucket list, whether that's, travels or goals, that kind of a thing. But it seems like this concept of women over 40, women over 50, reinventing themselves or, moving into a different career or doing something new as they get older, that's really starting to be normalized, thankfully. And I just want to know what advice you would have for women to get into a second act.
Right. And I have written quite a bit about this in my books and in speeches that I've given for women. What I have found is that when men start their careers, they look at things as a trajectory. Women, when they move into a career, they take a more circuitous route, if you will, because they will take time off for children and take time off for elderly relatives or to tend to parents. And so they will move maybe from a corporate job to something that is an independent contractor status or a self-employed status and work in that venue. Or maybe they will put their energy into nonprofits and to volunteer work. And then as children grow, they may choose to move back into a part-time or a full-time or a consulting basis status, and then move back into the corporate world. So you do see this more circuitous route. One of the things I think is important to this, and that women should realize, is that all of these skills that they are developing, they're transferable commodities. And when they look at that resume for a second or a third act, they should include those skills that they have developed as they have worked, maybe in the children's school, maybe in their church, maybe in the nonprofit world. Include those as skills acquired and use that to market themselves in a more holistic and a fuller way, recognizing all of these skills that they have developed. In some of my speeches in one of my books, I had talked about meeting a guy at one of these meat and three restaurants on a town square in Tennessee. And Tennessee had never elected a woman in her own right to Congress. And I walked up to the guy. He looked like he had been farming all morning and was stopping for lunch. And I handed him my push card and said, "I'm State Senator Marsha Blackburn. I'm running for the U.S. House. I sure would appreciate having your vote." He nodded. I moved on. And then as I got ready to leave this little cafe, he motioned me back over to his table and he said, "Little lady, what qualifies you for the U.S. House of Representatives?" And I thought a moment, because I thought I might not get this guy's vote. And I said, "Well, sir, I've been the the 3-year-old choir director. I've been the room mother chair, and I've been the Girl Scout cookie mom. And if you can handle a class of 3-year-olds, and if you can handle the Girl Scout cookies, you can handle the U.S. House of Representatives. And I think many times we as women discount those skills, and we ought not to.
And that's really interesting that you bring that up, because I see women on both sides of the aisle, mothers, maybe not yet mothers, running for office and talking about their experience being a mom and, being in these different, situations, raising a family. What advice do you have for women at any age, really, looking to get into politics?
And what they should do is make certain that they are participating in the community, that they are building that base of support, that they're allowing people to know them and their philosophy of life, their philosophy of government, and how they would handle situations. One of the things so interesting to me is issues change. And especially in elective office, you're going to have a vast array of issues that come before you in any given week. And policy debates change. They ebb and they flow. But what people do want to know is how you relate to them and how do you line up with the issues that are very important to them, and what path then can they depend on you to travel as you do the due diligence on whatever the issues of the day are going to be.
Senator, what is your advice for women over 50 years old in a nutshell?
They have learned a lot by living. The great Loretta Lynn once said, "Not all learning comes from books. You got to live a little." Put these experiences to work for you.
And what's your personal mission or mantra that drives you every day?
Every day, I think about two things that my parents taught me. One, give back more than you take. And the second, leave things in better shape than you found them.
Senator, just over a month ago, your former colleague, Dianne Feinstein, on the Democratic side of the aisle, passed away, and you called her a trailblazer. I wanted to get your thoughts on what you make of her legacy and what you hope your own legacy might be.
Yes, I think Senator Feinstein had a legacy of supporting women. And after she passed, and I was on the floor paying tribute to her, I talked about how she had approached me when I came to the Senate. And she said, I was the first in California, and this is what I found from breaking those barriers. And this is what I found from being in the Senate. And she knew that I was going to be on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is where she held a seat. And we talked a bit about that. I think her willingness to realize that it is important to open those doors for all women and to ease that path. And that's important to do. And it's one of the things that I have sought to do. When you break a barrier, it's important to realize you don't break that barrier just for people in your party. You're breaking that for all women, whether it is the other party, whether it's women who at this point in time have no political inclination. But it's important for women to show that they can work with respect for others, that they can be consensus builders, that they can find solutions to problems. I like to say, I am always willing to have a conversation with anyone who would choose to make the lives of Tennesseans better.
It's absolutely remarkable to see Republican and Democratic women coming together over that shared experience of being a woman. Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you so much for joining us here today.
I'm delighted to join you. Thank you.